Originally, this video was going to be about IGN's war on gamers. In fact, the whole reason I started this video was the Mouse PI review. Because personally, I'm tired of seeing good games by indie studios getting bad scores 100% subjectively, not objectively. But the more I dug, I found there's a reasoning to that. In fact, I found that we've been intentionally lied to, manipulated, and divided. Yeah, gamers, that rift between us, that was 100% manufactured. In fact, I'll even go a step further and say wokeness became an industry weapon to divide us. Because when we're divided, we're so much easier to conquer. And my God, have we been conquered. Now, I'm going to go through the facts and everything because, well, I'm not going to just sit here and say, trust me, bro. I'll have all my receipts in the description. But to get into it, I'm going to start with IGN's disproving they're fucking woke. Because IGN doesn't give a shit about it. There was a time where they could have put their money where their mouth was and proved they were for inclusion and all that. But they didn't. You see, Blizzard was sued by the state of California. And for those who don't know, they were sued because they weren't paying minorities and women their correct pay. And when I say correct pay, I don't mean like they were getting paid them what less than the industry standard. What they should have been earning. Next was sexual harassment, racism, frat boy party housing. They literally did beer crawls from cubicle to cubicle. That's why Blizzard went to shit. And what's worse is they had a hotel room at BlizzCon called the Bill Cosby Suite. In fact, they even had a suicide because a manager who was dating an employee sent her nude pictures to everyone at the party and she killed herself. Now, Blizzard did their best to sweep it under the rug. They settled out of courts with everyone. And what did IGN do? Well, they helped them sweep it under the fucking rug. Now, you're going to sit there and say, well, why would IGN do that if they sit there and they say they're all for inclusion and equality and shit? Well, let's see who owns IGN. This is their overview. This is their parent company. Now, if we scroll down to their parent or to their acquisitions, Game Network. Well, who's Game Network? Wow. A lot of individual gaming media outlets. They're all in bed together. These people who sit there and say, oh, you need to play this game because otherwise you're XYZ. They're all in bed together. And it's not just the gaming outlets. Even the fucking tools we use are owned by Ziff Davis. Now you're going to sit there and asking, who the fuck is Ziff Davis? Well, why don't we look at their investors and... Oh, now it's making sense. The Tencent of America, who has literally investments in almost every form of media outlet. Now they control they control the gaming space. They're the ones who are manipulating everything. They are the puppet masters. We are living in a fucking dystopia world. We're living in cyberpunk. We just don't have the fucking augments though. And it gets worse though, because look, they actually have a lot of holdings into games. And look at who one of their major fucking investors or invested into Electronic Arts. Hasn't EA produced a lot of woke games recently? Yeah, they have. And it's been intentional. Again, it's all to divide the games because when they're divided, they're so much easier to conquer. We don't get to see who's actually finger blasting us when we're too busy pointing fingers across the rift. In fact, look, BlackRock companies that they own or invested in. Wow. Just look at this fucking thing. You see how small that is? If we get to the halfway mark, we're in the thousands. Here, actually, here's the halfway mark it looks like. Yeah, still thousands. And they're not just coming for your media outlets. They're coming for every form. BlackRock they want to take it a step further. They're not only dividing us, they're now trying to tell us how to think and what to think. They're investing millions, if not billions, into influencers and everything. They already own the gaming media outlets. They already own the game studios. Now they're coming for the people, the last refuge, the YouTubers, we're sitting on an Alamo. And I'm seeing YouTubers sell out left and right. I'm sitting on the wall with my goddamn musket watching the walls start crumbling down around me. Now, I'm going to try and hold firm. I'm going to keep reporting the good fight because we need to fight back. We need to stop using IGN. We need to stop going to these fucking websites. We need to stop going to game news networks. Yeah, all these game sites, you need to stop using them because you're just funneling power back to BlackRock. You're just doing what BlackRock wants you to do. To be manipulated and lied to. And again, the fact that they're even going after influencers is a fucking huge red flag. That's not just a red flag, it's a crimson flag on fire. And I've already watched a video. This video right here, I'm going to link all these links, they're going in the description. And this link right here to this video is going into the comment section and pinned. Because you guys need to watch this, which explains how BlackRock is investing into YouTubers and essentially manipulating them because they want to tell you how to think and what to think. And you know how I said, wokeness was a manufacturing of the industry? Well, look at when Ziff Davis bought out IGN. Now let's take a look at when woke was actually termed or coined. 2014. Yeah. It was already an industry standard by then. It's just a coincidence that Ziff Davis, aka BlackRock, bought out IGN, and then all of a sudden we start getting woke this, woke that everywhere. We start getting a bunch of woke games. It is intentional. It's no coincidence that the companies or the game companies that BlackRock owns make these woke games. Because they know, they'll still get their profits back because, well, people will sit there and, want to pat themselves on the back and buy the game just to sit there and say, I did a political thing. And then, meanwhile, on the other side of the aisle, they just produce a game for the other people who will sit there and buy it and support it because political power. You see, everything has been politicized and has been intentional because private equity is trying to control us. We now don't have any free sources, or we have nobody we can trust. That's literally why I made my game channel or made this channel, because I couldn't trust these YouTubers anymore. They would sit there and say, oh man, this game's great. I bought it. It fucking sucked. In fact, Starfield was why I made the channel, because everybody was saying Starfield would be game of the generation when I already knew Bethesda couldn't fucking release a goddamn game for the life of them. Because Bethesda no longer cared about making games, they only cared about profiting off them. So, this pisses me off. I'm angry. I'm upset. And I feel like I have every fucking valid reason to. I'm sure I'm going to get those bots that are going to come in and sit there and say, you're just schizo. But you know what? The facts speak for themselves. That, again, Ziff Davis buys out IGN, wokeness gets termed, but all the companies that are making woke content just so happen to be owned by BlackRock. If not owned, heavily invested to. It's always been the plan. It's always been, the rift was intentional. So that way they could manipulate us. They could control us. Now, take this video how you will. I wanted to report on this because somebody had to. Somebody had to sit there and let you guys know that we are being manipulated. We are being used. And I'm going to tell you how to fight back. Stop using these websites. No more going to IGN. No more going to any of these websites. You can't. The more you visit these websites, the more you give them power. The more you go to IGN's reviews, the more you give them power. It's time to end it. You, the individual, you are not a peasant. You are a human being. As much as BlackRock, IGN, and all of these news outlets want to sit there and say you have no power, that is a fucking lie, because you do. You can vote with your wallet. You can vote with your clicks. You can vote with your views. Stop looking at these websites. Start investing into looking others. Look for other alternatives. Research who owns them. Because unfortunately, that's the time we have to, these are the times we live in, where mass marketing manipulation is just a standard. And we have to actively put in the effort to know what's correct and what's wrong. But yeah, I just wanted to quickly make this video. I wanted to warn you guys, show you we're living in a dystopia world, but we can still, there's still time to change it. There's still time to fight back. Don't buy from these companies that BlackRock has invested in. Do not buy games that BlackRock has invested in. Go for the indie studios. Go for the people trying to make the game studio or making gaming field or gaming a hobby again. Why do you think all these game companies came out against Larian? Well, because BlackRock doesn't own them. Because Tencent doesn't own them. And so they had to rally against them. Just like they do with any form of criticism. Now, I know I'm probably going to get a lot of shit for this, but fuck it. I would get shit regardless, so it is what it is. But I wanted you guys to be warned. I wanted you to be educated and in the known. And with that, I wish you the best and stay safe out there. Because the more I research into the markets, the more I research into our actual, from the news to even YouTubers, how we're just being manipulated and used. With that though, I wish you a good day and hope you stay safe. And most of all, educated.